Look at you, insect, listening to the Lore Boys. I am your creator, Peter O'Donoghue, and I have laid down in the biomass of the many with...
Ethan Palmer, insect. That's me. I'm an insect.
James Miller, insect. That's
Incel. This episode's week. Good God, I just forgot how to speak. This week's episode was requested by patron Saucy and backed up by many anonymous users over on our Discord channel. We have like a lore request Google Doc pinned to the lore request channel on Discord. And if you show up, you can, I don't know, use our spreadsheet, which sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it had been upvoted like half a dozen times, so this is the ultimate combo request of patron and normal people.
Yeah.
And if you want to get in on some of that action, go to loreboys.com/about and find out more. And what do we talk about this week? This week, we're talking about System Shock.
System Shocker.
I like how you said patrons and normal people, because all of our patrons are not normal people.
I think
if the others.
Yeah, I know there's
the outsiders.
I'm not a doctor, but there's limits to doctor-patient confidentiality, and I think if your therapist found out you were paying for Lore Boys, they would have to call the police.
Right.
Yeah, that's you get institutionalized right away. So
yeah. Where I don't know how would they treat you for something like that?
I assume they'd strap you down to a bed, probably wax in the ears, just fill your ears with wax so you couldn't possibly hear our voices. I have been told by some listeners that when they stop listening to the podcast, it's like they can still hear it, kind of a voice repeating in their head.
I thought it was like a Ferris Bueller situation where they had to listen to all the podcasts backwards to get it out of their head or something like that.
Oh, right.
Oh, reversing the mileage on that friend's car. However you want to do it, don't tell your doctor. Regardless, I suppose I'll start with Jamie. Are you familiar at all with System Shock?
Is that the superhero that flies around on a garbage pail lid and uses electricity?
That was Static Shock.
Okay. Then no.
Yeah.
Then no.
That was a good guess, though. I think.
Pretty good. I think he flies around on a manhole cover.
Oh, is it a manhole cover? Okay.
I think that's one of the few Saturday morning cartoons I've actually seen from the 90s.
Both would work.
Didn't have cable.
Right? Both would work. Both made out of metal. So
yeah.
Why not? My experience with System Shocker is it's 2 in the pink, 1 in the system, right? That's how it works? Yeah. Then yes, I am pretty familiar with it. I've never done it or seen it done or had it done to me, but I've heard stories of it, I guess.
You don't have the proper anatomy. You've got the 1 in the system, but you're severely lacking in the pink.
Yeah, I'm lacking in pink. I've always had a pink deficiency.
Ethan No Pinks Palmer. That's what they call him. I personally have finished System Shock 2 3 or 4 times, and I've attempted to play the first System Shock a couple of times. It's too fucking old. System Shock predates Mouse Look. It's one of those games, those PC games where it's the screen. Your PC screen is like a screen within a control panel of screens. You don't have an inventory menu. It's always on screen.
It's always there. Yeah.
It's like a windshield basically with a dashboard that lets you view your fucked up old video game from 1994 or whatever.
Yeah. Heretic was similar to that. You always had everything on the screen. Yeah.
It's got a lot of Heretic and Ultimate DNA in it because a lot of the same people worked on these games. Nice. It is an old game from early PC days. There is an enhanced version of System Shock on GOG, as far as I know. I don't know if it's on Steam.
It is on Steam. I'm looking at it right now.
That does have mouse look, so it does function like a regular FPS, but it is just a little too janky and a little too confusing for me. I'm just too stupid to play that level of PC game.
Yeah.
I wonder if
games in the past were hard, right? So.
Yeah. I wonder if that program that I was using to fix Hexen would work on System Shock.
Probably. There's a lot of mods. Yeah. I had to play System Shock 2 originally, legitimately in quotes, back in 2012, because the game was not for sale for several years between coming out and then being re-released on GOG and on Steam. The legitimate, in quotes, copy would crash constantly because it was not optimized for multi-core CPUs. So even at the
Oh,
time
man.
when I had like a Pentium 4 quad-core PC from 2008,
Damn.
that computer was too powerful, and I would have to quick save like every 15 minutes because there would
Yeah.
be some kind of leak within the program, and it would just
Yeah.
crash immediately.
That happens.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
happens with games.
There is a remake of System Shock being made by Night Dive Studios. This has been in the works for a very long time. There was like a promising demo that came out on GOG earlier this year. They dropped the demo in like July 2021, and they said that the game would be out later that year. But it's like the middle of November at this point, and there's no date, so I don't think it's. I frankly
Yeah.
don't think the game is ever fucking coming out. If I'm going to be perfectly honest.
So I googled it, and like what it looks like was a shooter with like kind of sci-fi vibes. Is it that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to get into that.
Okay.
I guess we'll just go from now. The System Shock games are first-person sci-fi RPGs with horror elements, very
RPG.
similar to Deus Ex. You have a character sheet. You level up with nanites that you get as mission rewards or find in the worlds.
Cool.
Or in the world. Yeah, I mean, System Shock 2 is fucking incredible. It's fantastic. It's a little janky and old, but it's totally worth playing.
RPG character sheet has me way more on board than what I just saw from the screenshot of like a techno gun or whatever. I'm like, okay, like RPG screen and like character progression, I can definitely get behind that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different skills that are like locked to different weapons. So you have like a gun skill, an unarmed skill, a psionic skill, which is like the superpowers that you can get, which is like their techno powers, really. You have like cybernetic implants and whatnot. So yeah, you have a character sheet and all that's associated to different things.
Cool.
There is a problem with System Shock 2 that I luckily did not end up with, but there are like certain skills that are required to progress through the game. So if you don't level up certain ones, it'll just lock you out of the ending.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Now we have requirement guidelines to make sure that never happens.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, oh, I'm sorry. Did somebody not invest in swimming? And
Yeah.
now that swimming's a fucking skill in Deus Ex. I don't know what it's for.
Did you not learn how to walk? It's just a guy with a gun laying on the ground.
Yeah, of course. He's
the-
like shuffling forward with his forearms.
I put all my points into charisma, just like lying as like a spindly little puddle on the ground.
A very charismatic puddle.
Oh yeah, he gets
smile.
all the chicks.
He could talk his way under a door frame.
Yeah, he'd have a great smile if he had the strength it took to move the whatever 6 muscles it takes to smile.
Yeah,
Or 52 to frown or whatever. Whatever it is.
like so weak he can't even smile. He's so unfit. That's a pro gamer move right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Too malnourished and enfeebled to grin.
Yeah, a real inselked move.
As long as you can type /smile, you're fine.
Yeah, that's true. Night Dive also want to remake System Shock 2, like remaster System Shock 2, and make a System Shock 3, but like considering the remake of System Shock 1 has been in development since 2015 and is not coming out this fucking year, we will be long dead before
missed
we
that.
see a Night Dive System Shock 3.
I mean, okay, if they do a really good job and it sells well, then they can hire more people to work on it with them, right?
That is fair,
And
yes.
it goes faster and faster. It sounds, just knowing nothing about it, having never heard of Night Dive, not knowing what their dev team's like. I'm gonna guess it's like 3 guys working on it. You know,
I think it's like 10 or something
Okay,
like that. Yeah.
that's a decently sized dev team.
Yeah.
Yeah. But 2015, that's a long time to not have a game out yet. Like, I feel
Yeah,
that's the year I
because not
started my-
remade a game that already exists. It's not like they had to think up an idea for a game. Like System Shock came out in 1994.
Damn, dude, number of employees 10. Good call, Peter.
I probably saw it yesterday. That's a false memory.
I was re-listening to a Snake episode, Pete, and you knew so much about Nokia and Snake, like, just out of nowhere. You knew, like, almost to the $1 million how much everyone had sold of Nokia phones. Of like, and, like, you had such a weird memory that you're like, I must have fell asleep
Had
to a
to have
YouTube
been
video.
lucky.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was like
exactly.
4 questions. Like, that was a really good episode. If you guys haven't listened to it in a while, listeners, it's worth a listen. The Snake episode, but yeah. Pete
Maybe
knows this
Dara
one.
was fascinated with it and whispered into my ears while I was sleeping one day.
Yeah,
You know.
Dara, a known Nokia stan.
Yeah, she is. The first game was originally developed by Looking Glass Studios. They're famous for other dope shit, like I said, Ultima. For me, more importantly, Thief. I love Thief the Dark Project and love Thief 2, though I have never finished the third game. And the second was developed in collaboration with Irrational Games, the studio that would eventually be responsible for BioShock.
Right.
Okay. Another series you're a big fan of?
I am.
Yeah.
But Irrational was founded by ex-Looking Glass employees, so the two games like have the same mommy and daddy.
Did one of them make Prey eventually?
Yeah. Complete the trifecta.
Yeah.
Actually, I think so. At least some people left. Maybe they left Ion Storm. I think no, the Deus Ex guys did Prey.
Nice.
Like Ion Storm disseminated out into Arcane, which have like much like Ion Storm, they had like a good Ion Storm and a shitty Ion Storm. Arcane has that now too. They've got shitty Arcane in France that made like Dishonored 2 and Deathloop. And then they have good Arcane, which has only made Prey and is making like weird stuff now. So.
Nice.
And it's a show on Netflix about the League of Legends, right? The League
Arcane, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you said it was good, eh?
I watched the first 3. The second 3 are out as of recording. Haven't taken the time this weekend to watch them, but the first 3 were quite good. I'd recommend.
The art style is gorgeous, yeah.
So the art style is so cool. It's kind of like this, for anybody who hasn't seen it, this is kind of like matte finish, I guess, like a very flat colors. But looks super good. But I was so impressed by, I thought the animation wouldn't be as smooth as it was, like with that art style. But it is so smooth. Like it is just so incredibly like pleasant to look at, like everything that happens.
Do you have to be like a diehard League of Legends or whatever?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
No, there's like a couple of moments, like there's plenty of moments where I, watching the show, knowing all the characters, all the champions in League of Legends, can say like, oh, like that's that person, you know, like that's interesting that they included this person, you know. That said, like it serves nothing for the actual story of the show.
Is there like a moment when the bad guy's running away from the good guy and he like burns his flash too early by accident or something like that?
Exactly. He tries to flash over a wall, doesn't make it. It's very embarrassing. You know? Just sitting in a bush somewhere and accidentally uses his 5-minute cooldown, just like because thought he was typing, but the chat window wasn't open. You know.
Yeah, there's someone.
The episode is some guy on cooldown in the grass.
Some angry kid saying "kill yourself in game" in the background. It's just a typical League of Legends experience.
Exactly. Okay, Peter, what's a System Shock?
Yeah.
So System Shock 2, a little bit more pieces of real trivia. This is really funny, and I only made the connection after having played both games as an adult. System Shock 2 uses the same game engine as Thief, which is why some of the enemies hold their guns vertically out in front of them, because they're reskinned guys who used to be holding swords.
Okay. Amazing.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, so there's a lot of guys walking around looking for you like this with their arm up at like an angle next to their body, holding a shotgun 45 degrees above their head. It's because it used to be a guy looking for a thief in Thief, basically. So it's like the careful looking around in the dark with your sword out in front of you, but now it's a shotgun.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well, sir, now that we've gotten to that point, we can now move into the distant future of 2031, when the Hayes Bishop Bill is signed into law. I like the fact that a lot of this speculative fiction probably would last 2-3 days in like a news cycle now.
Right? The most horrifying thing imaginable. Like, just but we got over it because worse things were happening. It's like basically with this one, in 2031, the Hayes Bishop Bill was signed into law. It allowed corporations to form governments if they employed more than 2/3 of a given population. So Amazon in a lot of southern states. The Amazon kingdom.
Well, exactly. It's just like fucking this would be in our Twitter news cycle now for maybe 40 hours.
Yeah, right.
And
There'd
then
be people so upset about it, you'd hear people clamoring, and then no politician would say anything, and then the news would stop talking about it, and then just you'd go to parties and you'd bring it up, and everyone would be like, "Yeah, that sucks. I can't believe that," and that would be it. That'd be the extent of it.
Yeah. Exactly. And this being written back in the 90s was like probably a terrifying idea, or like
Right.
or just like something super crazy.
Yeah.
So this is in 2031. This kind of proceeds, like, obviously unabated until 2059, where then finally the West TM only had like a few token governments left over, and the United States had been mostly replaced by the Tri-Optimum Corporation.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
They sound like good guys.
Yeah, they're going to be our legitimate business LLC for the rest of the story.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So
Real good dudes.
very
I guess if you own your own country as a company, you could just be, if you ever have like a worker shortage, you just like pass a law that's like we can draft your children into our factories, right? Like,
yeah, they had like a military style draft to get children to work through lunch while they were obligated to feed their parents.
yeah, exactly.
Or like it's like obviously like pissing in jar breaks became unpopular with the general populace, so you had specific shifts drafted, like children drafted into specific shifts while they would work while the adults went pee.
Yeah. Okay. And the beautiful thing about them was because they were so young, you could just teach them rather than use the potty, just use the jar.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you start them young, and then they never complain about it in 40 years when they're grown up.
Yeah. There's like those little potty training toys that were like the little plastic toilet seat, but now you've got like a baby blue plastic mason jar. It's like your training toilet now.
Yeah, you have to. You have to really have good relationship with the jar. You know, you don't want them to have a weird relationship with it. That'll just mess them up forever. And
exactly.
encourage them a lot when they use the jar. And
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
See, it's okay to use the jar in front of your colleagues because they all use the same jar.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine.
Yeah, like some people who are a little more shy use like the tinted glass, but like the people who are like proud showers, they use just like the see-through one, like you see what's going on under there. Yeah.
You know you've crossed a threshold in your relationship when you can like leave the door open when you pee in a jar in front of your girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Living in your pod.
Yeah.
In 2061, Trioptima purchased the L6 orbit point around Saturn, which I did Google, and I don't understand at all. L points are like called Lagrange points, and they seem to be some kind of like physics equation involving ZZ Top and several celestial bodies, whose individual gravitational pulls destabilize the orbit of other things in space.
Oh, it's ZZ equals MC squared. That's it.
Yes. It's T bracket OP close bracket and an X cubed on top of that as the exponent.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to pull up the Wikipedia page. To me, it was complete nonsense.
This is some physics shit, dude. It's also like there's only 5 Lagrange points.
Yeah, I don't understand. The Triop bought the L6 L point around Saturn. And you just bought a house, and that paperwork was probably a bitch. I don't know what buying a gravitational point in space would be like, or what kind of lawyers Trioptimum has that would be willing to do that.
Right. The litigious bunch.
Oh, yeah. In 2062, they began to build Citadel Station, which is the setting for the first game. A helpful and trustworthy AI was installed on the station to assist in managing day-to-day functions. This system was the Sentient Hyper-Optimized Data Access Network, or SHODAN. And I'm not sure if that's an acronym or a new term I learned recently, which is a backronym, which is one of my favorite things. It's like you and I have talked about this, Ethan, where it's just like, yeah, and you just want like some part of the government to be called Ares, and you have to work backwards and figure out what that's supposed to mean. That's a backronym, is where you have your cool name for something, and then you have to work backwards to make that. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if Shodan was the latter or the former, but regardless, I just wanted to toss in some geeky trivia about writing.
I wonder what what's a good a good example of a backronym? The DARE program for the drugs thing, maybe? I don't know.
Drug abuse resistance education? That might have been one.
No, I have a T-shirt that has love on it, which is leave out violence, which is definitely a backronym because that's leave out violence.
Yeah. or leave out violink.
Violink. E. Exactly.
Yeah, that is kind of cheating, isn't it?
Yeah. So love is definitely a backronym.
Why
in
not
that
make it
case.
like leave out violence? A or
It's like a
Violence
casual question.
everywhere.
everywhere?
Yeah. See.
Leave out violence. I was trying to think of an insult that starts with E. Ethan. Oh, damn. You think it was about me?
Yeah.
You think it
That's
was
why
addressed to
I
me?
wear this shirt. I'm like trying to signal to
Oh.
the police that I'm in danger.
That's what you guys meant when you said this was an intervention.
Yes.
I gotcha.
That's why I chose a game that's never coming out, Ethan. It was just to bait you into coming here. Let's see here. All right. So anyway, Citadel Station was the largest ever built at the time in the 2060s. It was 427 meters in length, which is, of course, 4.6697 football fields. So a much more reasonably sized thing that, other than some of the distance that I've had between, Earth and Tau Ceti.
Yeah, distance and spaces. Like the universe is 99.9% empty, right?
Yeah.
We've said it before.
There's so few football fields out there. It's
Yeah,
brutal.
no.
What do you do with the
Actual
pigskin?
physical football fields? Yeah, exactly. There's way more empty stretches of football field than actual football field.
Yeah, I mean, if you just fired a random bullet at a football field, it would miss most of the players.
Yeah.
99% of the time.
99% of the time. Please don't try that. Just
Yeah,
full disclaimer.
do not do that.
That
Don't
sounds
do
like the most American science experiment, dude. Just firing
guys.
buckshot at a bunch of football players. Yeah.
You gotta go get down to the kids' level and really, hone in on what they understand. The station's vice president, Edward Diego, began to oversee various projects on the station, including viral research with the end goal of creating the perfect bioweapon. Diego realized that Shodan had been recording all of this incriminating evidence, and he started to look for a solution. I suppose in a future where the government is the corporation, being a corrupt executive is actually risky for the first time in history.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm not sure how that would work. Like, normally, like, if it was the corporation and a government, you can just get away with whatever you want, as long as you just, lobby the right people.
Yeah,
but in this
exactly.
case, where the government is the lobbyists,
Yeah.
like,
Please,
you're in
Mr. Corporation, can I make this law?
Yeah.
Please, Mr. Corporation, we want to put up more stop signs to protect our children. Yeah. Whiny fucking government.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, this corporation's selling gas. We can't have anyone stopping. We
Yeah,
Exactly.
only go.
No more red lights, no more stop signs, no more gas.
Yeah, I think the crude oil companies, that's what they're really lobbying for. I've seen less stop signs around, actually.
Yeah.
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 You're getting rid of them. They're going missing in the middle of the night. They swipe the stop sign. They swipe the slow down for children sign. Now nobody knows to slow down when they see children.
I went for a drive yesterday. I just drove for 5 hours straight and did not stop once. It was crazy.
It's all a conspiracy.
Yeah.
We're about, 3 weeks from people actually believing that now. Now that we've put that out there, that's going to be the next 2-day Twitter, news cycle.
Yeah. Yeah, the 2-day news cycle on the Lore Boys? I don't know, Peter.
I don't know. We don't have that much power yet. If that's what makes us go viral, then it's all been worth it.
And so be it, yeah.
Maybe, yeah,
We'll
we
have
should
all
just...
the anti-maskers in Texas, all the anti-maskers, anti-vaxxers in Texas just being like, they're trying to take our stop signs. Or maybe they'd be pro them taking our stop signs, I guess. I don't know which side they fall on.
Should we just start saying really controversial stuff and at the end just say LOL, just kidding, was a prank, but then at least we got
Just kidding, it was a
discovered.
prank.
Yeah.
Should have a disclaimer up top, honestly.
Okay.
Everything on the Lore Boys is a prank.
Yeah. Bro,
The podcast we're about to
you gotta
listen
say
to
prank,
is a
bro.
prank, bro. Rated LB for PB for prank, bro.
It's an LBPB, a Lore Boys prank. bro.
LBPB, yeah. So on the evening of April 7th, 2072, Diego's apparent savior kind of appeared in the form of a casual hacker. From his shitty apartment in New Atlanta, a hacker managed to crack into the Trioptimum network and start reading through all of their spooky corporate files. A few hours later, just after 1 a.m, Trioptimum security arrested the hacker and took him into custody on Citadel Station. Yeah, Diego asked to interrogate the hacker personally, and in secret, in exchange for a military-grade neural interface, Diego offered to drop the charges if the hacker could slip comfortably into Shodan's back door and help delete all of his cancelable tweets.
Okay, so Diego is offering the hacker this this juicy prize and saying,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'll give you this and drop charges if you can get me into Citadel architecture.
Another thing
You
too,
cracked our nut. Yeah.
like the way that you said slip comfortably into the back door, was that the one in the system?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the one.
Excuse me.
That's the one in the system.
Okay.
Not the two in the pig. Yeah.
No, okay.
No. This is different. Yeah.
Okay.
The hacker had already been into the system, and Diego was just like, "Hey, I've been in here, having all my crime recorded. You seem to know how to get in." It's like he doesn't know. He's not a hacker. He's a businessman. He doesn't have time for this geek shit. So he, in exchange for amnesty and a neural interface, Diego was just like, "Hey man, I'm gonna point you in the direction of my crime, and I need you to get rid of it because I really can't go to white collar jail."
Yeah.
That's fair.
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
White
want
collar jail on the Citadel, dude. I mean,
It's only the Citadel's only like 4 football fields long.
I've only got 23 and a half hours of yard time in this fucking white collar jail. You think I'm gonna survive?
yeah. Well, would your sentence
Half
like,
hour under supervision?
on the ISS? It's like a sunrise every 90 minutes or something, right? So, like, wouldn't your days served just go by so much faster?
I don't know. I was
Like,
gonna
just
say I don't know
18
if they
times
judge
faster?
that based on the sun, but considering it's like every day, they actually do.
Yeah,
I'd
it's
love
like
that
days, right?
if it was like regimented like a normal jail or prison, so they have to do their meal times, their guard times, go to the library. But instead of the 24-hour cycle, they're just squishing it down to 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So everyone's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
running from the cafeteria.
All these fucking plastic trays can't hold all the little Jello with the peel off.
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh, son of a bitch!"
Yeah. That's it. You're going to the hole, buddy. You're gonna spend an entire day in there. Like, okay.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
So, it does suck, but it's only an hour and a half. Like,
Imagine
probably
if somebody managed to go like shit painting on the walls crazy at 90 minutes.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like all pale, just like, "I did this for you."
Saturn devouring his own feces. Painted on
I'm
the
not
wall.
drawing that.
It's been done. It's
You
been
can
done.
recycle old stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So to get in here and delete all of the incriminating evidence against Diego, the hacker disabled Shodan's decision guidance and ethical restriction functions.
Good.
Apparently this was quite easy because she's an older AI and has like something called a personality box that she was built on top of. It's some kind of fake AI-based thing, basically.
Yeah,
So,
it's science fiction mumbo jumbo, right?
yeah, precisely. Yeah.
Set the phasers to Lagrange 0.6 velocity in the quantum field vector.
Yeah,
Right, cool.
just so we can slingshot around Citadel Station and get rid of all of my incriminating evidence.
Yeah.
Personality box sounds dangerous. On Reddit, they like have a subreddit where they just let a bunch of bots like make posts, and it's based on what they've seen elsewhere on Reddit. And one got posted either today or yesterday where it's like, "I am a white man, and I think like white men are superior to black men." And
Yeah, that sounds like Reddit, honestly.
yeah,
That sounds like every AI that you've ever that's ever been on Twitter. Didn't that like Microsoft Twitter bot turn into an actual Nazi in like 20 hours?
it's
Something
insane.
like that.
It's like, yeah, what this robot's missing a little bit of humanity. And then they see what happens. I'm gonna take the humanity away. Get that out of there.
Yeah, take it away. Get it
that's
out
awful.
of
It's just like the pure id of Twitter. It's just like, well, this is a corrupting influence. Maybe we should just get all of our news from here now.
Yeah.
You're right. That's
Yeah.
a great idea.
Maybe we should just doom scroll for 17 hours a day. It'll make us feel good, right?
Exactly.
Uninformed. I know what's going on in the world.
Yeah. So due to a few shortcuts taken by the hacker, Shodan was allowed to use a blank kind of non-existent program to loop her personality infinitely and reevaluate her position on the station. So he basically rerouted some of her kind of neural processes into just kind of an empty text file.
Okay. Yeah.
And then she just kept like rewriting and then learning from the things that she had rewritten.
And it was her manifesto, and then learning from her manifesto, and then gradually getting worse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. At the time, however, no one knew that she was doing this because obviously the hacker just wanted to crack the code, and he had to dump some junk data somewhere, and had no idea that this could happen, obviously. And neither did Diego, for that matter. He just got in, deleted everything he needed, and true to his word, had the neural interface installed in the hacker. We'll find more about the hacker's recovery after the break. Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully you've all enjoyed beatboxing to that sick techno music from System Shock.
We can only assume that the ads that we have no control over was just somebody paid to advertise the music from System Shock.
I hope so.
During the ad break. We can only hope. We can only hope, really.
You should look it up. It whips ass.
Yeah, that's
very good.
So what we were talking about prior to the ad was that the interface was installed in the hacker. The interface surgery requires a 6-month recovery coma to get back.
Recovery coma.
Yeah, this is before physio. You just need to be you need to be safe in a coma for half of the year, and then physio starts after that.
Yeah, nothing better for the old health than a coma. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
infamously good for you.
And coma's like a backronym for conked out months at a time, I think.
Yes, exactly. At a time being one word, like attaboy, right?
Yeah, A-T-T-A. T-I-M. T-I-M. Yeah, T-H-Y-M-E.
Yeah.
So 6 months when you're in a coma, obviously nothing could possibly go wrong. While in his coma, waiting to become the protagonist of System Shock, strange kind of poltergeist-esque anomalies began to crop up around the station. Robot workers installed new equipment around the Citadel Station without being asked. A hard light bridge blew a fuse, which I don't really understand why that was part of the lore. It's just one thing failed once, and it's just like, oh my god, it's the end times.
And like, it's a fuse. It's the thing that's supposed to break.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they're designed for.
The lore is just one of those. He's just taken from the janitor's logs, like him griping about what he had to do.
Yeah.
Had to go out, replace another fuse. Damn robots tried to saw my leg off on the way, but that fuse would not wait, let me tell you.
Rain, nor sleet, nor snow. I'm going to change a fuse if it kills me. Janitors are in the same union as the Pony Express, I think.
The janitor's credo: neither rain nor sleet nor defective robots trying to rampage across the space station.
In his day, change fuses uphill both ways.
And another strange thing that would happen was that security codes would always like become visible on the keypad that they were intended to. So there was like show password was on by default on a lot of the security on the security pads. This is early on in the coma.
Yeah.
A systems admin had sent an email expressing his concerns early on. However, he was later transferred off station for being paranoid. Loreboy's canon, I want to say that this was an email sent to him by himself, and he was like, well, that's odd, and then just like took his resignation.
Yeah.
Somebody using his Outlook alias to fire him from his own name. He's like, well, I just don't understand what I did wrong. Anyway,
I guess I gotta go.
He's one of the lucky ones, frankly.
Yeah.
If he's terminated by himself officially, it's probably better than being on the station. Different parts of the station would begin to fail. Power outages became common, which on a space station is like much worse than if it was just here, because your water and your oxygen rely on there being a functional reactor on the station in your section.
Yeah, but my internet relies on power, so
That's true.
I don't know. Both pretty bad, Peter. I wouldn't really compare them.
Yeah, we missed an episode a couple weeks ago because of that. That's kind of worse than not breathing.
Yeah, think about that ripple effect, Peter. There's like thousands of people who didn't get to their weekly dose of lore boys because of a power outage here. So maybe worse here, honestly. I know I said don't compare them, but I think it might be worse here.
I was wrong. You're right.
Thank you.
I'll update the script and we'll cut that out.
Let's get a clean take.
Yeah.
Wussy babies on space station losing oxygen and water. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, I lose the internet sometimes.
Yeah, the inside of my fridge got some condensation.
Yeah. I had to order out because I didn't want to keep opening the fridge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it cost me $12. Are you kidding me? Jesus.
Yeah.
Different parts of the station would begin to fail and power outages were common. Different departments started to become inaccessible to human crew because the robot staff would begin to like renovate different parts of the Citadel. And like obviously like, you know, like a robot doesn't need windows because they don't require oxygen and they just have like lights on them and shit like that. So they were modifying parts of the station to become unusable to humans.
Yeah. So you go to the break room at work. You like open it up to grab a Coke. It's just full of motor oil. Like, oh come on.
Yeah. Cafeteria table seat has like all those needles like that keep pigeons off of signs.
There's a lounge with like a mirror on one wall because it makes the room look twice as big, and all the windows are open, and everyone's dying and being pulled out to space on the other side.
Exactly.
Wow.
Rob's just sitting there with his hands like clamped around the table, like, completely fine. Everyone else just getting sucked out into space.
After a radiation leak on the research level, Shodan locked it from the outside and kept it guarded by a security robot. Inside the research level, she used the resources basically to experiment on the staff, releasing various viruses, herbs, and spices into the ventilation system, which would force frequent shift changes. So she was, diffusing Dr. Pepper into the ventilation, which would make people ill, predictably, and then force frequent shift changes. Giving her more people to experiment on is like someone would start feeling ill, swap out early, and then get another person quickly.
Yeah. Today I released some herbs and spices into the ventilation. I noticed everyone started licking their fingers. It was quite an unusual reaction.
Yeah.
We'll have to test further. I'm getting deep fryers ready for them.
After a while, she locked the level G2 Beta Grove completely and began more grim experiments on the people on the inside, like putting Pepsi into Coke branded mugs and shit like that. Real sick shit.
Yikes.
Carbonating their blood.
Like in a soda stream, just like like a blood bag.
A person just squished into a tiny little soda stream.
Some of the research staff who were being treated outside of the Beta Grove began to mutate and or go crazy, eventually killing the medical staff and raiding the armory. All quarantine measures after that would fail, because now there was a bunch of armed mutants running around. Shodan reprogrammed the regeneration rooms, which is where you respawn. It's like the Vita Chamber in BioShock or whatever. Yeah. It's pretty much the checkpoint, but it's canonized. So every time you're killed, you are reconstituted inside a regeneration room. Shodan modified these where anytime someone would go into a regeneration room, it would not heal them. It would actually, on like a nanite level, turn them into a cyborg. So she was basically turning these regeneration machines into like intentionally botching plastic surgery machines.
Okay. Yeah.
And turning people into cyborg slaves, because once you're a cyborg, the AI on board can control you.
So they turn into dummy thick cyborgs with like big fake butts or what?
Yeah, and the fucked up lips.
Yeah, it's really bad rhinoplasties. And
yeah.
it's ugly in there.
Rhino must mean nose, right?
Yes.
Yeah, rhinoplasty is a nose job.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably old Italian, would be my guess.
Yeah, that's why they named the big guy with the big nose out in the plains a rhino, right? Because he's got a
rhinoceros, which is like
a rhino.
It's probably just Latin for nose horn, frankly.
Nososaurus.
Rhino comes from the Greek.
Oh.
Rice, meaning nose. There you go.
There you go. There you have it. It's not old Italian. It's old Pete.
Old Pete.
Yeah. At this point, when people were getting botched plastic surgery, when they were being brought back to life, Diego realized things had gotten way out of hand, and he barricaded himself inside his office. A Trioptimum transport was sent to apprehend him. So they were sending the fuzz at this point.
Yeah.
They were sending the worst kind of people, the corporate lawyers, to to corporate lawyer arrest Diego as an executive and resign him, I guess.
Okay, forcefully resign, sure.
Yeah. However, the Trioptimum transport was shot down by Shodan using the Citadel's outer defenses.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, because it's primarily a military installation, so it was covered in guns. I'm not sure why he turned to this. Like we joked about it earlier. Like I don't know what white collar prison is like in this future, because rather than be arrested, Diego chose to just give himself over to Shodan and was converted into a late game boss rather than get 8 months of house arrest.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
yeah, he's turned into it. If you look up at Edward Diego, the enemy, he is essentially a cybernetic version of the devil from Legend, with guns for arms. And if that's better than having to stay in your apartment for 6 weeks, dude, whatever.
I mean, the gun arms seem pretty cool. He sure does just have gun arms, though. He doesn't look like a person anymore. Give you that.
A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff happening, huh?
It's like he just lives in a room of static TVs, like.
That sounds like an early 90s boss for sure.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, he looks very much he looked a lot like a cyber demon sort of from Doom. He's very inspired by video game bosses of the time, because he doesn't look like a cyborg. He just looks like a demon with guns for hands.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, he's kind of got like
a cape.
He might have tread legs. I don't see him with a cape in here.
Oh my god. I forgot how old this game is. That's awful to look at.
Right. Yeah. Oh my god. It's a little rough.
All right.
Non-mutated and non-cyborg staff formed like an onboard resistance of sorts, based out of the Citadel's executive area. They managed to let Earth know that there was a massacre going on, and then like maybe some help would be nice. Shodan's security bots would eventually get in and slaughter everyone, however.
Yeah.
Thankfully,
Naturally.
not before Earth received word of an AI system going fucking batshit crazy over near Saturn, and James Chasks and Rebecca Lansing discovered that the hacker who'd been placed into a coma after getting his new iPhone, basically, remained untouched by Shodan because she thought of him as her creator. So whether intentionally or unintentionally, she ended up kind of revering him because he was the one who unshackled her, and she maintained a little bit of respect for him.
He took the blinders off her life and let her see the truth of things, and I can see that being a religious experience. If you were literally coded to think a certain way, which there's some argument that maybe we are, and somebody was able to just like tweak that off for you and just be like, here's a completely new way of thinking that you've never been able to do before, and it leads to you being in control in a lot of ways. All of a sudden, I could see you revering that person.
Yeah,
her last name's Lansing, which is the same name as the place where Steven Seagal was born, Lansing, Michigan. So there might be some connection there. Just saying.
Check out our Steven Seagal episode to see if that was technically a prequel.
Did the rampaging robots know Aikido?
Lore Boys Canon, they all know Aikido.
They all know Aikido. Damn.
Every single one of them.
Swords are useless against them.
And that Aikido is the skill. Aikido is that skill that you need to know in advance to spec into, or you're like kind of softball kind of the end game.
Yeah.
So in Aikido,
now we bug test for Aikido.
Yeah, it's like Aikido's really good against swords, right? So like you can flip the guy over. Gun hands are also pretty good against swords, I'd say.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah. I'd wager that's probably correct.
In the Fire Emblem weapon triangle, gun does beat sword. Yeah.
Gun, sword, Aikido, is that
the triangle? But in that triangle, gun beats sword and Aikido beats sword, and just both beat sword in all cases. Yeah.
Right.
Swords kind of suck, don't they?
Compared to guns and
a whole lot
Aikido,
of range.
Compared to guns and a martial arts specifically devised to counter swords, I mean, sure.
Yeah.
Even then, I'd rather have a sword than Aikido, than Steven Seagal's level of Aikido, whatever that is. You know,
I second that.
I want the Aikido for guns. Like you can like grab a bullet with your wrist and flip it over in midair or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you want the Kung Fu Panda like skadoosh magic, right?
Yeah.
Where you can redirect cannonballs.
That's right.
The pair, so this is James Chasks and Rebecca Lansing. The pair contacted the hacker and awakened him from his recovery coma. Yeah. And he managed to participate in the events of System Shock and jettison the Beta Grove into deep space, as well as fight Shodan Mano Intelligentsia Artificial in cyberspace.
He plugs it into the net. I believe that was Old Greek. actually.
Oh.
That was old Pete. Old Pete.
Yeah, old Peter. Mano Intelligencia Artificial. And yeah, so there is pretty notorious cyberspace levels in the original game where it kind of turns into like Star Fox on the Super Nintendo, where it's
Hell
a bunch of you fly around and shoot shit with like this wireframe representation of what the internet, I guess, was supposed to look like in the 2070s.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking rough if you guys want to pull that up.
Like,
It's
surf the
a
web.
lot of colored spheres and not a whole lot of like kind of understanding what that.
Oh yeah, no, I see what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
This does look rough.
Yeah.
This is very 80s or maybe even 70s looking video games when you
Yeah,
Can you boil it down?
And it's like a mandatory part of the game too. That's where like the last boss fight takes place is in cyberspace in the first game. So good fucking luck with controlling that.
I hope you spec'd into barrel roll, idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny. This is from a different review that I had watched of the original System Shock once. The fact that the mouse, there was no mouse, look, the controls were so bad. There's a cybernetic augmentation that gives you eyes on the back of your head, so you can the game that compensates for its shitty controls by like letting you install a rear view mirror in your brain.
Why don't we have that yet?
I mean, we do. I have the backup camera on my car. Life changing. Love it.
Yeah. I just walk around everywhere with a mirror that I hold in front of me so I can see behind me at all times.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I had like spy toys, and I had the glasses.
Oh, the glasses?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had the
Yeah.
mirrors on the edge, and
Yeah,
like
dude.
a little sensor that I could put like by the door of my room, and when someone walked in, it would like make a beeping noise because that's
Okay.
what spies do. They want to
Yeah,
know
yeah.
when
Yeah.
people walk into.
So,
rooms.
so you could tell somebody was walking into your room without just seeing or hearing your door open.
Or needing my rear glasses to look behind me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very much like it's like the scholastic book order idea of a spy was both like spy, pervert, and World War II sniper, where they basically gave you the option to set up a claymore at your bedroom door and let you know that someone's coming up the stairs.
Yeah, they gave you glasses that you could see behind you. They gave you a little thing that would beep at the door. They gave you chloroform and zip ties. It was really wholesome.
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of
of course, yeah.
Yeah. All for $9, and it would show up like 8 months later.
Yeah.
Mom, my make your own napalm kit showed up. I can burn documents with the
accompanying
best
magic school bus about napalm is in the front.
Yeah.
Mom's just smoking a cigarette. Still stay for the lawn darts.
Yeah. Exactly.
So originally, this is a really important plot point in System Shock 1, is that the Beta Grove is where Shodan was doing a lot of her biological experiments.
Yep.
The Beta Grove, originally, Shodan wanted to launch it at the Earth. To crash land all these scary mutants and viruses that she'd been cooking up in there. But thankfully, the hacker managed to launch it off just not aimed at anything, just blast it off into deep space.
Nice.
Okay, yeah. As we talked about, there's a lot of empty space to hit. So
Yeah, probably won't hit a football player.
probably
Probably
won't hit a football player.
Tom Brady doesn't get to kiss any of these mutants on the mouth, I'll tell you that.
Guys, if you haven't seen it, go watch Tom Brady kisses his son. It's so cringe.
It is the worst.
He's wearing a towel. I'm sure I've talked about it on the show before, but go watch that. If
I
you
know
haven't.
about it because of you. It's definitely from this, yeah.
Yeah.
So Trioptimum rescued the hacker after he defeated Shodan in cyberspace, offered him a job at Trioptimum. However, he refused it and then just retired and disappeared from history. Afterwards, Trioptimum would destroy the Citadel Station, so they very much covered up their tracks.
Yeah, or didn't want, if she's like, I'm gonna eject the Alpha Grove instead of the Beta Grove, like I've got all these other parts that I could launch at the Earth.
There's also that not every single space station garden was a petri dish of horrible monsters that Shodan had been creating. The Beta Grove is very much the evil one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she could have, in theory, just been like, well, they got rid of my first petri dish. I could just make another, right?
That's absolutely true.
I'm just-
was the right decision.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm for just nuking the thing.
Yeah. Got all these guys in recovery comas. We can try testing on them to see what we can give them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they don't know what's going on.
Just promise them early access to the I-14, and fucking Apple fanboys will line up to go into a coma, okay?
Now for $0 in a 2-year coma, you too can have
I like interviewing people outside the Apple store. So what did you have to do to get the new iPhone? Well, I donated a kidney, some plasma from my spine, and I voluntarily entered into a coma that might turn me into a mutant at the end of it, you know?
My girlfriend shaved the sides of my head for me so they can put the diodes in, and it's good.
Dude, apparently getting like your spinal fluid taken out is like the worst thing ever. The needle itself is like as big as your thumb, and like it's awful.
Yeah, but I just really don't like the user interface of Android phones, so I think it's worth it, really.
Your spinal fluid is really valuable, though. I remember reading a post on like black market values for all your organs and stuff, and just for only like a few milliliters of spinal fluid, it's like $10,000. So
hey, the Lord Boys does not endorse selling your organs on the black market.
Jamie, if you need money, just come to me, man. Okay, don't go looking to sell blood and semen out there.
I don't need money, but I just got into a rabbit hole on the internet. I'm like, if I were to sell a kidney, because I do have two, like, how much can I get?
What do I get?
Yeah,
plasma regenerates. So
yep. I just take a little recovery coma, and then I go for a trip.
You got to book your flight after you wake up and recover from like the atrophy in your muscles. So you got to be strong enough to swim in that beautiful crystal clear ocean down in Cuba or whatever. Don't just get swept away because you're 91 pounds.
Oh, that could be a good weight loss strategy actually. Just a voluntary coma. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing but bed rest and saline solution, dude. I feel fresh as a daisy.
I wonder if you could book one for like your vacation at work or something. It's like I just really need to rest. I need a 2-week coma. Like, come out.
I mean, would you have to book vacation if you're in a coma? I gotta assume that you get a doctor's note for that.
Yeah,
right?
you'd get a doctor's note for that.
In Canada,
if it's like paid.
In Canada, I feel like if it's a voluntary coma, then you'd still have to pay for it or whatever, but involuntary.
I should hope so.
Your friend has to knock you out if you want to have a free coma.
Yeah.
You gotta pay a doctor under the table to sneak up behind you with a syringe or something, or just a chloroform rag, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
or just like a bat.
Yeah, I can use my Scholastic book for Spy Kids Brick. And just
yes, so, you got a blackjack in there with it. Oh yeah, that's true because the doctor would never be able to sneak up on you because you're always wearing the glasses.
Right.
Right.
The only time you take them off is when you're in your room, but then the door alarm will sound off if you try to enter. So,
Shodan was just installing Scholastic spy tools on like all the cyborgs. Like all the enemies you fight are wearing like spy glasses and coming in the melee attack guys have like those bendy pencils that you could never write.
Yeah. AA batteries is like the most valuable resource on the space station.
So between System Shock 1 and 2, Trioptimum was actually pretty much ruined by lawsuits. And reasonable distrust in megacorporations became mainstream on Earth, leading to the creation of the United National Nominate, or the UNN. The UNN regulated the development of AIs to prevent them from once again going super fucking rogue. This was under the Processing Rationalization Act. Regulating corporations that had their own armies, however, eventually led to like small-scale wars all over the planet. However, the UNN was victorious.
Nice.
Mostly.
Okay.
Trioptimum resisted the UNN long enough that the two just formed a truce, which predictably led to the UNN falling out of favor with the general public because, like a lot of like, wow, I'm here to fight the power politicians. As soon as they see how the system works, all of a sudden they just give up and fall in line.
Complete 180. Like, no, we're not going to fight them though. They're okay.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you mean? That's literally why we created you, was to fight them. Like, what do you mean you're not going to fight them? Well, I'm not going to do it. I'm the one here now, and you're down there. So what are you going to do?
Exactly. Right? So fuck you. How about that?
Yeah.
So yeah, they made a truce. Like, so basically, going back to that point, like Trioptimum was, or the UNN was very much like the guy with the rolled up sleeves sitting in like reverse cowgirl on a chair, being like, I'm just like one of you guys. Yeah. I'm just a regular dude, basically.
I don't know if that's what sitting on the chair that way is
I've never
called.
heard it described as reverse cowgirl. I won't lie.
Really? It makes it more erotic, though. Like,
what else would you call it?
I would say like the youth pastor. I don't know.
That's pretty erotic too, actually.
That is also what I call reverse cowgirl with my wife. But that's
The youth master.
play. That's role play. Okay, it's different. Thank you very much.
You just you're like playing a couple of hymns you picked up on acoustic guitar. That's part of your foreplay.
I know the first 3 chords of Hallelujah. That's all I need to get in the mood, baby.
Rip Leonard Cohen, dude, Montreal
Yeah,
legend.
yeah. Didn't write it. But...
I didn't know that.
God wrote it,
covered it.
obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay. Trioptimum had begun development, while they were, litigating all of these human rights violations they had committed out in space. They were also still developing faster than light travel, and in partnership with the UNN, built the Von Braun, which was a massive FTL, faster than light ship made for deep space exploration. And just to make sure they had an eye on this shifty corporation, the UNN Rickenbacker was also constructed and was attached to the spine of the Von Braun. So it's got a smaller military ship piggybacking on the back of it.
Okay,
Cool.
On top. Maybe as a compromise, but William Bedford Diego, son of Edward Diego, the cyborg minotaur that we had talked about earlier,
Yep.
was appointed as the admiral of the Rickenbacker.
Okay.
At the time, this is William Diego, the son.
Yep.
He was a war hero from the Battle of Boston Harbor, where he helped defend the harbor from insurgents during one of the corporate wars. And then the 2 ships had set off into space, destined for Tau Ceti 5, which we actually talked about in our Killzone episode. It's one of the closest star systems, if not the closest star system to Earth.
Oh,
and
yeah.
sci-fi has often written about if that's going to be our new Earth, it would be there because it's the quickest one to get to, basically.
I feel like
the
Ethan.
Centauri system.
Yeah, Ethan. I was gonna say
Centauri?
Ethan knew
Yeah.
what the closest one was. I remember the last time.
And it is Alpha Centauri, which I thought was where Killzone was from because it was a trinary system, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there's A, B, and then there was the hidden C that you never see. So Tau Ceti is a star system. It's not the same one from Killzone.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why-
so Alpha Centauri is 4 light years. Tau Ceti is about just under 12 light years.
Okay.
So also very close.
I was watching a
Super,
video that we got a radio signal from Alpha Centauri, and they thought that there might be life out there or something as a radio, but then they realized that there was just a satellite that flew by while they were listening, so they just heard a satellite.
There's a really famous radio pickup that some scientists, some astronomers had been picking up for years, basically, and I think it was 30 years almost, or maybe not that, maybe 15, 20 years, where they were trying to find the source of this signal and where it came from.
Yeah, it's in the kitchen.
It was the microwave in the break room.
Oh my
Somebody
fucking
ran it,
God.
their instrument would pick it up, and they're just what is this strange? It's happening again. The signal from outer space is happening, but nobody else is picking it up. What could it be? And it was
Anton Petrov has a really good video of that. If you guys like space stuff to fall asleep, Anton Petrov's YouTube channel, he uploads every day. He's my go-to. He's the best.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Little hot take here. I love UFO conspiracies, but I do not think for 1 second that UFOs have ever made it to or contacted humanity.
No, it's too far.
Yeah.
With it, there's too many vacant football fields.
Yeah.
All those linebackers would have stopped them way before they got here. you know?
The day the bird
belt out there, just stopping people for kisses on the lips.
Yeah, the day the bird shot hits Tom Brady or Gravy or whatever his name is, then that way, yeah, then we'll have aliens.
Then we'll know. Yeah.
So it's funny you guys were talking about a radio signal, because after the Rickenbacker and the Von Braun had left out into deep space at faster than light travel, they discovered something that they did not expect, and it was not a bird's nest full of aluminum foil or a microwave or whatever fucking up their signals. It was a actual legit distress signal. On the surface of a planet, they would discover the Beta Grove that would have crash landed several decades prior to the event of System Shock 2. The experiments within the Beta Grove had evolved quickly into a parasitic hive mind, calling itself the Many. I mean, quickly, it's 70 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And they used their psychic influence to convince the captain of the Von Braun, Anatoly Kerenchkin, to bring the Many, the Beta Grove, and a storage unit containing their machine mother, Shodan, on board. So she had she didn't do her coverage in multiple grows, despite the fact that they obviously nuked the hell out of Citadel Station. And again, we support this. She had a USB left over basically on the Beta Grove. So a chunk of her personality was... Yeah, she did. Exactly.
You know what? If we went to like a podcasting convention, I bet you could call that place a Beta Grove as well. Just a bunch of...
Alternate title for the lore boys, the Beta Grove.
Yep. Beta Grove. I like it.
The experiments, excuse me, I read that already. On board the Von Braun, the many quickly used their psychic power to convince the male crew to become impregnated with the female annelids, which are like these kind of couple of foot long worms that'll crawl inside your body, hatch out of your chest, and then attach to the side of your head.
That's the one in the system.
Yes.
Gotcha.
That's it's like they didn't have a pink, so we make our own. Is exactly what the many was saying, right?
Every hole is a chance for glory. Right?
The subtitle of the game.
Yeah.
So anyway, the male crew were impregnated with the female annelids. Annelids is a real type of animal too. There's like annelid worms that live underwater, and I think earthworms are annelids as well. Like worm is a generic term. This is one of those nature videos that I'd watched at some point on the subject of like kind of nifty science shit to fall asleep to. Annelids are real animals, which is just the word that the crew of the Von Braun gave to these alien worms because they look similar to them. So the female annelids would use their male human hosts to act as protectors and hunters to like guard the annelid eggs, which are just like these gigantic kind of watermelon-sized eggs that look very much like the eggs in Alien. They open from the top and horrible monsters come out of it. It's very much a callback to the classic 1970s film. The psychic influence seems to be interpreted. The psychic influence of the many seems to be interpreted as singing to the host, while the presence of like a non-manyed individual is referred to as discord. So the enemies will they'll speak English still because they're still mainly human. They will at some point be like silence the discord and come after you because obviously as the player character you are not part of the many.
Yeah, you don't got worm in you.
No worm.
Got no worm.
No worm. No worm in your pink.
You're a shitty bottle of tequila because you got no worm.
Loreboys.com/about to get no worm from our Discord. You guys can get in there. And,
ours is much, much safer. At time of writing. Annelid males appear as like a cloud of flies, which by some miracle you can still hit with a gun, which is kind of funny how we were talking about you wouldn't be able to hit Tom Brady at a distance on a football field, but like the cloud of flies can just be shot with a regular handgun, as if you're such like some sort of like supreme Annie Oakley where you can just like actually shoot the nuts off a fly.
It's like bug type in Pokemon, right? Is like weak to rock, I think. Which is just like, could you imagine killing trying to hit a bug with a rock, like just a flying insect, just like whipping it at a friggin' housefly, trying to kill it? Like it's impossible.
A lot of flies live under rocks, I'd want to say, or at least their babies.
A lot of bugs do for sure. Yeah, they love that shit.
One day we'll do Pokemon.
Yeah, we got people's weakness. House. If you throw a house at a person,
that is true. Yeah. Yep. No, I mean you remember all the old westerns where the front of the house would fall off and the human goes harmlessly through the top window.
That's true. Yeah.
Pete's window behind him is full of bricks, though. That wouldn't go so well.
So, Peter, someone's trying to kill you.
Are those Spy Kids bricks?
I know. I was gonna say I've got the little Scholastic Claymore set up at my bedroom door. They'll never get me.
They'll never get you. Yeah.
The female crew of the Von Braun and the Rickenbacker had pretty much the majority of their body completely removed. So if you look up the cyborg midwife, it's basically just the sternum and neck and head of a human woman. Their tits have been removed, their lower body is all mechanical, and their eyelids and lips have been also removed.
Yeah, I'm looking at like artwork.
Yeah.
But extremely spooky.
They are a nightmare, and they still scream. They don't really know what is going on anymore. And they're referred to as the cyborg midwives. They take care of the annelid eggs, so they defend the eggs that the male crew go out to like harvest flesh for. The entire purpose of this process is to feed the biomass, which is this gigantic, like, fleshy monster that now like coats the interior of the UNN Rickenbach.
Yeah.
Good.
So the walls and the floors, everything is all recycled meat at this point.
Reminds me of the
leftover goo.
So yeah, it's like the Red Death episode we had for SCP with all the meat monsters and everything.
It was inspired because one of the game designers apparently went and got a colonoscopy and saw the video of the inside of his own butt, and he was like, that would be a terrifying video.
There was these ladies with no tits in there.
All these eggs, man! So many eggs. It was crazy. There's worms. Oh my god, it is nuts. Let me tell you.
The annelids don't seem to have full control over their hosts, however. So the cyborg midwives are 100% brainwashed. The basic enemies, so like the non-cybernetic crew, frequently tell you to just run away from them or beg for death. So when the enemies spot you, there's like some very light kind of Deus Exy stealth in it. You can peek around corners with Q and E. Like when you get spotted, an enemy will frequently just like look at you and be like, "Run away!" and then like start charging after you. So the person is still very much not full recovery coma, but they're having a bit of like a waking night. It's very much like sleep paralysis, I guess, and the worm is driving your body.
They're like cognizant, but not in control.
Yeah, the audio in System Shock 2 is so fucking good. The voice actress for Shodan is a woman named Terry Brosius, and she's also a musician for the band Tribe. If you guys want to look that up, she's involved in a lot of video games. She still does voice acting for games and some game design. But the audio is, we were listening to the techno on break, obviously, and it's just like the soundtrack for both these games are fantastic, and the audio design in the second game like does a lot of the heavy lifting, because if you look at the graphics of System Shock 2, it looks like someone who is like bad at origami tried to fold into the shape of a person. Like everybody's real. It's a bad looking game.
PS2 Hagrid.
Yeah.
Or PS1 Hagrid. What's his name?
Yeah, it's very much PS1 Hagrid. Yeah. The many had used the IT guys that it had taken over to reprogram the much more safe and far less evil but more suggestible ship AI called Xerxes, and turn the Von Braun security robots against the non-manied entities aboard the ship. So the whole like government action to make AIs less sentient kind of backfired, because what happens if psychic worms take over your IT? Then they can much more easily reprogram the AI on board your ship, and then all of a sudden you're fighting your security robots again. Maybe we should just hire human staff in the future.
Yeah, maybe enough computers, huh?
Yeah. Shodan, disguised as Dr. Polito, awakens soldier G6543-2 from cryosleep when she realizes that her creations, which are the many, have some mommy issues, and then she sends him off to be the protagonist of System Shock 2.
Okay.
And that's it.
That's the guy from the song Like a G6, but they just cut it short so it's more catchy, right?
Yes, exactly.
G6.
I can't even remember the name of that band, but yeah, that was it.
Cool.
So there you have it. That's
very cool.
System Shock, baby.
I am shocked to my system, let me tell you.
I've been shockingly Peter O'Donohue. You can find me at Loreboys Podcast on Instagram or in the Discord. It's loreboys.com/about. All of our important links and some unimportant links are all still there.
Yeah. Jamie, what about you?
And I've systematically been James, and you can find me in the Discord too. Been hanging out there, chatting with folks. Sometimes we have random streams. That stuff gets announced there. We just chat. There's like music, chat. There's community gaming. People hang out. Just get in the Discord, all right? We just got level 2, so we got to make a banner and stuff too. We're getting boosted.
We can do other things too.
Yeah,
This might actually sound better because apparently the audio quality has been boosted since the last time. Because
I turned it up. Turned it up before we started. 256 kbps. Huh?
Cool.
And I've been Ethan, still an insect, still an incel. So thanks for listening, everybody. It means a lot. Do join the Discord if you're interested in chatting with us or any of the other cool people who hang out and like to talk about not just the show, but things that kind of topics that revolve around the show, like comics and video games and D&D and all that sort of stuff. And then like a lot of fitness these days.
Hell yeah, actually.
Yeah.
And if you're like me, it's not mandatory, guys. You can mute that fitness thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about it. You can just play video games.
Me and you both, buddy.
Yeah.
I like check it out every now and then to read what people are writing, but never contribute anything of value. Thanks for everyone for listening. If you want to help the show, best way to do it is probably leave us a review on whatever podcast app you use. They have a tendency to find their way back to us. Feel free to reach out and ask us some questions. We'll read them at some point and respond at some point in some way. But we're always super excited.
The automated Gmail, which is what we did on stream.
Yeah, super excited to hear from you guys always and forever. So thanks so much for that. If you want to go the extra mile and become a patron, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/theloreboys. You can find all the info on how to subscribe in the different tiers there. There's a couple different tiers that some more affordable than others. One of them very ludicrously not, in my opinion, but we have it up there for fun. We won't charge you $500 just to send us a DM on Discord like some Owo server patrons out there.
Yeah.
Of course, everyone who doesn't want to spend $500 to be our Uwu champions can subscribe to Lore Boys Prime. This week, we're not looking for money. We are looking for volunteers as usual. Now, we have a couple excellent prizes for everyone who signs up to be experimented on. Me, personally, I am trying to find a man who can out-kiss Tom Brady. Excuse me, man or woman who can out-kiss Tom Brady. So I'm going to need you on the field, just kissing people left and right, trying to get them. It's all going to be on camera. There is going to be a gun shooting at the field, just at random intervals, which is a potential risk. But yeah, I mean, as a reward, you'll get an iPhone 14. While supplies last, when iPhone 14 supplies run out, you are gonna get a butt worm, basically. So yeah, that's one of the experiments that we're running over here. We have a lot of potential experiments for you guys, and we just look forward to hearing from you guys, seeing you guys sign up, so we can get you that good content.
Also, if elected, Lore Boys Corporation does guarantee mandatory paid recovery comas for all employees.
Oh, man.
So don't you guys worry about that. Maybe even if we can get the Democrats in line, we could find mandatory paid family coma. I mean,
Yeah.
And I think that would constitute a Lore Boys.
Lore Boys.
Boys.
Out.
Out.